My name is Hana Hoxha. I am a founder of Data Edu. I have been working for more than 15 years in international development programs, many different programs, different donors, in a role of monitoring and evaluation specialist, consultant, director, expert. So in the field. And lately, I have founded Data Edu, which is a private sector entity focused in data analytics and in monitoring and evaluation services. Um, so, probably all of you know about data journey. So data is very important to us. Data is everything. It's not just a figure. It can be a text, it can be an image, it can be a picture that we see. So it's very important that when they are interconnected, they can give us a very meaningful insight and a very meaningful message. But when they are not analyzed and not interconnected, we don't see any insights out of them. So we have also two types of data. We have quantitative data, and we will be doing a demonstration with a quantitative data set and with an AI tool here together, and qualitative data types that are more qualitative, that can be observed, but these are not measured. In quantitative, we see numbers, we see specific numeric, usually data that can be measured, like sales figures, profits, investments, exports. But in qualitative part, we use instruments where we have open-ended questions. So these data can be a bit difficult to get analyzed, but with the AI tools, everything, it's more simplified, and we just need to know basically how to use it and to use the specific Gen AI and specific prompt. While analyzing data, it's very important that data is only significant and it has its meaning and its role only when it is analyzed well and when it gives us insights to make a decision. Other than that, it gets old, obsolete, and it cannot be used. When we talk about artificial intelligence in ML, we can talk from four different types of perspectives, because AI is it's a very broad topic. But the first one that we will be focused more in this webinar is generative AI, or Gen AI, because both of the demonstrations that we will do have to do with Gen AI, basically more related with prompt engineering. Nevertheless, this is not the only perspective of AI. There are more complex, let's just say, perspectives of AI, and more technical, that has to do with predictive monitoring and evaluation and learning, where we move into regression and into classification models. Basically, we enter in machine learning models that we generate for monitoring, evaluation, and learning purposes. Then the third perspective of AI in monitoring and evaluation and learning is continuous learning. And this is basically because while we use AI to make fast analysis, while from raw data, we could generate faster insights, much faster than in the traditional way, then the learning is continuous. It's not like that we need to have or write or highlight lessons learned of the program every 3 months or every 6 months, like where we prepare reports and send it to donors, but this is continuous. It can be on daily basis, basically, because everything is so fast. The analysis can be generated so fast. And the fourth aspect of AI is automation, where we automate the whole process. So we don't use different types of Excel, but everything gets automated in a specific software with specific models where we can generate reports automatically. Nevertheless, this is very, very complex and broad, but today this webinar will be more focused in Gen AI using two practical data set that are used in monitoring, evaluation, and learning in different types of programs. These are some AI tools that we could use for monitoring, evaluation, and learning. And Munib will be sharing with you some of them where you could use them. Of course, most of them are free versions, or at least there exists a free version up to some prompts, and then there are different types of plans that you can use. So it's like ChatGPT, but there is a free version, but there are different types of plans, Copilot, Power BI. It's not an AI tool, it's a traditional tool, but lately it has been linked with an AI assistant. So even lately, what we can see that all these AI tools, all these traditional tools are being modified and developed further so they could have an AI assistant. So this is what is going on with Power BI and with NVivo, because also NVivo, which is used for qualitative data analysis, now it's NVivo AI. So the software has been upgraded into this direction. And Julius AI, it's a totally new tool. This is paid, but this is a fully AI tool, very much focused in data analytics. So all these tools are good. It's very important that we do not get emotionally attached only to one tool, because then we will not be using others. But it's good to test ourselves and to explore in more than one tool using AI or prompt engineering or generative AI. AI can support us a lot in informed decision making. How this happens? It can support us to pattern detections, definitely for forecasting, for forecasting, for predictions. It gives recommendations. Not only it doesn't only scan the current situation, but also it gives recommendations. Automation, automizing the whole system, automizing the whole M&E system. Nevertheless, in all of this, humans remain accountable. So human judgment is extremely important, because AI cannot work alone without a human judgment. When I say about human judgment, I really think about some skills. So there are some skills that are needed. Always there have to be a goodwill, because everything can be learned, but some skills that are needed to read data and to transform them into decisions are definitely strong analytical skills. We need to have strong analytical skills, reporting and writing skills, business acumen, domain knowledge. So this is very important, like context knowledge. AI does not know the context of our program. AI does not know our business acumen. AI does not know how the industry that I work or that you work is going through. This information AI does not have. Of course, presentation skills. And last but not least, it's the curious and pragmatic by nature personality type. So if you're not pragmatic enough, if you're not curious enough to see why things happened or why things didn't happen or why things failed, then it would be very difficult to do a good job in the area. So this is a personality type that plays a role. We have several types of data analysis. And this is important to know because when we talk about AI and data science, especially, we talk about multidisciplinary field. So AI and data science is a combination of computer science on one hand, math and statistics on the other hand, and the real world application area or a context area or a business acumen that will work. We need to know all three in order to be good in AI. Nevertheless, no one knows them equally. Everyone is a bit better in one part and less better in another part, but up to some point, you need to know all three in order to perform good at your work, interlinked with AI. When we talk about types of data analysis, there is descriptive statistics. So descriptive statistics, but this is not enough. This descriptive statistics tells us only the current situation, why things happened. But this is not enough sometimes for decision making. Sometimes for decision making, we need to go beyond descriptive statistics. We need to go towards more regression analysis and correlations that are needed to see the influence of one variable in another variable. And this is where ML or machine learning comes in, these predictive models that can be done through ML or through machine learning, where it comes in to go into more of a complex aspect of AI. So there are 4 types of data in the field of data science for AI-informed decision making. We definitely have classification, where we classify data. So data is being classified. This predicts whether a data point belongs to one group or belongs to another group. An example of it is placing new customers in one of the known group that it is specified with the criteria that the algorithm sets. Then we have the regression type, where the regression type of analysis tells us more about the predictions for the data set. It tells us if the inflation can be influenced through unemployment rate. It tells us if the exports of one country can be influenced from unemployment rate. With the increase of one, what happened to the other variable? So it tells us these predictions by using 2 variables, one independent variable and one dependent variable. Then another type, which is a more common use type and more familiar, most probably with some of you as well, I'm pretty sure, it's time series. Time series is trend. So we forecast based on the historical values. We forecast what will happen in the next 3 years with our program based on the historical values. So this has to do with export predictions, if it's an export-oriented program, production predictions, if we work in agriculture production, sales predictions, if we work with the private sector, with businesses, and we want to see businesses grow, sales predictions. And the fourth one, which is very important, is clustering. So through this data type, we identify clusters within data set. following some of inherited properties within the data set. Some of the examples of clustering can be finding customer segments in a company based on the loyalty, based on the web, based on the customer call data, based on the transactions, based on the income they provide. So we cluster customers based on several criteria that we set. Nevertheless, we as human beings set these criteria. AI cannot set the criteria because the AI doesn't know the context of the company that we work in, or the context of organization, or the context of the sector that we work in. AI executes, but we as human beings need to have a very good knowledge of the context or a business acumen in order to make the right question. And now we will be using a demonstrative example, which we call it a quantitative block, and then we have a qualitative block. But before we move on, Munib, do we have any questions?
Thanks so much, Hana. I think I've been responding to some of the questions that came through, mainly on the use of tools. So I wouldn't pause here in the interest of time as well. So I think we can continue.
Okay, great.
Just as a test, Hana will be walking through an example with the data set, first with the quantitative data set, and then eventually with the qualitative one. I am going to drop the data set in the chat for people to use in their own systems. So you could just access it with the link that I'm just sharing in the chat. Let me know if everybody is able to access this. You should be able to download the Excel file and then use it.
Okay. So we will start with a quantitative data set. I have opened the data set where you can see the data set. So basically, it is a data set, not a big one. It's
Sorry,
with,
Hana, we don't see the data set right now. We just see the...
Okay. You see the data set now?
We see the quantitative block file, like the Windows Explorer. We don't see the Excel file.
You don't see the Excel file. Okay, but everyone has the Excel file, right?
Yes. So I've dropped it in the... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now
So
we
you
can see it. Now you're... Yeah.
Okay, now you can see the data set. Okay, so there is a data set, so we can see all the participants' ID. This is very important to be noted that there are no names because of data safety. Everything is coded, so we don't have the names there, but we have all the IDs. Then we have other variables such as gender, age, municipality, training attendees, attendance, pre-test score, post-test score, employment, income before and income after. So all this data was gathered. So we will be using ChatGPT to answer some of these, to get some of this information regarding this data set. As we can see, this data set it has some missing values. It can have some wrong information, meaning that inconsistent information, like typo mistakes. So this is what we will be doing using the Gen AI. So now I will close this. Okay. And do you see the ChatGPT now in my screen?
Yes.
You see the ChatGPT. Okay. Great. Okay. So what we will do as a first step, so we will put the data set and we will enter in the ChatGPT here. Okay. But what is very important, we need to know what we will be doing. So before we start with the prompt, it's very important to say that we can do everything in the traditional way, using Excel, using SPSS, using Python. So, but we really need to see if there are from this data set any missing values, because missing values needs to be replaced. We need to see if there are any duplicate records. We need to see if there are any inconsistent municipality names, like somewhere is written or Pristina, it's my hometown, with SH, somewhere with only with S, and we need to see outliers. So I hope you know what are outliers. Outliers are uh, mistakes that could be done in a data set, like that are not reasonable, like attendance of the webinar 150%. The attendance of the webinar or training cannot be more than 100%, but this happens. We receive data set like this. We people, while they respond to the surveys, they can give us a wrong or they can give us, they can make a mistake, a typo mistake. So what is important to say that you can use Gen AI to get the formulas, of how to do it in Excel, how to do it in SPSS, how to do it in Python Jupyter Notebook. But nevertheless, you could use the prompt engineering or prompt AI to put it here in this AI tool, ChatGPT, in order to get the result. So this is the first step. We check the data set, we check if there are any data safety issues or data protection issues, and then we upload it at the AI tool. Then we want to run a prompt that is related to data cleaning. We need to clean the data set. So this is the data set that we write it down here. So the data prompt, the prompt that we write. You are a data analyst. We explain to AI what models should the AI get in. Review the data set and identify missing values, identify duplicate records, identify incorrect formats, potential outliers. Okay. Try to make short and very direct Gen AI prompts. Create a data cleaning plan. Do not modify the data yet. So I hope you're following and I hope you're doing it, because I'm going quite slowly. So we send the prompt. So we wait a bit. So the prompt is working, the AI behind the data set is working, and we expect to see some results behind it. Okay, so what do we see? We see that the data set have been reviewed. We can do this other traditional ways, as I explained, Excel, SPSS, Python, Jupyter Notebook for quantitative data, but we can use also Gen AI. So what do we see? We have total records, 100 findings, missing values, yes. So the Gen AI is telling us that there are missing values. Duplicate records, three duplicate rows, and this is human error. It can be, it is definitely human error. Incorrect formats, we don't have. Potential outliers, there are some potential outliers. So we can see, like, for every variable there, the following variables, like for gender, there is one missing. For pre-test score, there are 5 missing values. So for 5 of our beneficiaries in our program, we don't have the pretest score. Income after, we don't have 1. All other variables have complete data. Then we check for each of them. Like we have duplicate records, 3 duplicate records were identified. Then incorrect formats, all the formats have been identified. So potential outliers, and it is giving the Gen AI, it is giving us potential outliers. Okay, this is a very small data set with 100 respondents, but it is the same process if we use also 1 million respondents. So we could see that some outliers, age at the participant 017 is 99, which is usually very high for our program and very high in general. Attendance, 150%. This is an outlier, so there is something wrong. Post-test scores, 5 are extremely low to the rest. And income, before, after, so it's negative. Negative, it should be checked because income, it cannot be negative. So we are talking about the income that the person got before our training and after our training. So these are some data that needs to be clarified, and AI gives us the recommendation one by one that we could use. So now that Gen AI knows everything that made. It scanned our data set, not from the analysis point of view, but from cleaning the data set point of view, because this is the very first step. We cannot go to analysis and to recommendations before cleaning the data set. Now we want the clean data set, and now we give another prompt. And that is this one here. I'm putting the prompt here. I'm giving the Gen AI prompt that now clean this data set, explain every modification, and provide the clean file. Okay, so we have now the clean file here. Now the AI is working and it is providing the clean file. So you can see here. So this is the clean file that you can download. You can go here and download the clean file, and you have no missing values, and you have no outliers. So everything got replaced automatically. And the Gen AI is telling us here, what did he do? Or what did he or she do? Yeah, like what did the AI, the tool, do? So we see, for example, that here we have a missing pretest score. We have 5 missing pretest score. So they were replaced with a median. And we as human beings, we should be able to challenge AI. We should be able to challenge AI and ask why it has been replaced with a median and not with the average. So sometimes you try to make these questions, because our role now as a data analyst or data consultants or ML professionals using AI it's to challenge AI, because we know the context of our work much better than the AI. So here, so they have replaced it with the median, the missing value. So why not replace it with average instead of median? This is a good question. So even AI knows when we are making the good questions. So because both mean and median are valid. These are statistical methodologies. When the replaced value is missing, when the missing value is not there, so we need to replace it. But statistically, it is correct if we do it if the AI replace it with median, but also with average. They did it with median. I asked why median, why not average. So it's very important that we challenge AI all the time, and then it gives recommendations, and then it tells you what to do. We will be moving now to the for the time being, since our time is quite limited for the webinar, we will be moving to another prompt to analyze this data. Okay? So we will be giving this prompt, analyze this data set, answer 3 questions. Why is the average improvement between, what is the average improvement between pre-test and post-test score? Does attendance percentage correlate with learning improvement? Which demographic groups show the strongest outcome? Provide statistical results. Interpretations, limitations. Okay. So this is the second prompt. The first prompt was related to data cleaning, and we challenged a bit the AI by asking why they replace it with a median, but not with the average. Now, a good thing is that AI used the clean data set. We always use the clean data set for the analysis. We don't use the unclean data set. They got it automatically. We didn't need to put it there. So we got the results. Huh? So for every question that we made, for every analysis, we got the result in 2-3 minutes. What is the average improvement between pre-test and post-test score? So the improvement is 12.606 points. We have the answers there. Does attendance percentage correlate with learning improvement? We have the R score, which is the correlation is very close to 0. Yeah, it's minus 0.004, which means that there is no linear relationship. So which demographic group show the strongest outcome? Okay, male participants demonstrated a larger average improvement than female participants in the sample. So it gives us the table, and it gives us the finding, basically. And then by the employment status, by age group, and the overall interpretations. And it is giving some limitations that we might like to go more in depth and work with it. After the analysis, we would like to see if AI can generate some visualization from these findings before moving into more regression or more advanced statistical analysis. So we run a prompt with in regard to visualization. We want this AI tool with the AI clean data set, to create 3 charts that would be useful for monitoring and evaluation report. Explain why each chart is useful. Execute 1 chart. So as you can see, all our AI prompts are very to the point, short sentences, very clear. So we send the prompt to AI and we wait. And we will be having some results. Okay. So first, it is giving some explanation about the charts that we asked. We asked some charts, and it gives us, it explains the variables, and then we get the charts that we can export or copy and paste in our reports. So we have here the average pre-test versus post-test scores. So we have pre-test, which the average score before the training took place, that we, for example, our program did it, is 53.8, and post is 65.9. So just in a couple of minutes, you can generate this finding and use it, instead of waiting and doing the traditional way, which it's also good. And if you have time, I recommend doing both. When I have time, I recommend doing both. I use the traditional ways. I use SPSS, Advanced Excel, Pivot tables, sometimes also Python, but also use Gen AI, and I see compare if the results are the same, especially when I want to send something accurate to the donor to be 100% sure. I try to do both and see if they are the same. So you can see here, like the chart, and we can see the improvement of our training as a program. So uh, what I would like to say and what I would like to highlight is that AI, and this is a key message here, AI does not replace data analyst. AI does not replace evaluation specialists. It accelerates analysis, but human judgment is needed. You need human judgment there to ask the right question, to validate the results, and to avoid misleading conclusion. And in the best scenario possible, when you have and the time when you have, you use both the traditional way and the AI way and see if the results are the same. In most of the in most of the cases they are the same, but there are cases where AI can make some mistakes, but we as a human beings, knowing the context, we need to justify. And if your organization that you work does not allow you to upload the data set in the AI tool like ChatGPT, then you can use ChatGPT as a learning platform. You can ask ChatGPT how to how to get these findings in the SPSS, Statistical Package for Social Sciences. How to can you can ask for the code. You can ask for the code and put this code in Jupyter notebooks using Python. You can ask for Excel formula, and it gives you the Excel formula. So there are organizations who doesn't allow AI, but in this case, if you are not allowed, like I have demonstrated to you, and of course we should always follow the organization policies, we could use AI for learning purposes. So this is my demonstration for the quantitative block. And before we move to qualitative block, Munib, do we have any questions there?
Thank you so much, Hannah. I think there are two that I would like to flag. I think there's a question from Amadou who says, between the AI tools, will it generate the same results? Like you're using ChatGPT, would he expect the same if he uses another AI tool, or is there some sort of learning that the AI tool manages before it gets there? That's the first one.
Yes, the results are the same. So if we use ChatGPT or Julius AI or Copilot, the results will be the same. So example, the pre-test will be 53.8 and the post-test will be 65.9. The difference would be in explanations. So in the free plans, we receive less explanations regarding our prompt. In paid ones, we receive more complex explanations. But in regard to the results, the results are the same.
Okay. And there was another question, I think that really has to do with organizational policy, but the question is, how are we supposed to cite in a report or in a publication when we're using AI? Is there some guidance around that one?
Yes, there are some guidelines. There are some guidelines, and usually there is not a unified guideline. When we want to publish a report or some type of research report, or some type of the academic publication, we need to check the guidelines of that specific institution. So there are also some academic institutions where you can publish scientific journals who allow AI to be used up to some point, and it needs to be cited. But there are no unified guidelines. Like every institution has its own guidelines that we need to check from where we work and to follow those guidelines. Unfortunately, there is not a unified policy, let's just say, for a specific country or a specific continent, or like European
Hmm.
Union or US or Canada. Or, yeah, every organization has its own guidelines.
Okay. And I think in the interest of time, Hannah, I would ask you just move on. I think you have another block to cover.
Yes, I have another block to cover. So you can ask, or you can open the quantitative data set, please.
The qualitative one now, right? I,
Qualitative data set, yeah.
I'm just going to send that in the chat now. Let me know if
Yes,
you could just access it.
yeah. So as you can see, I will leave here the findings from the quantitative data set, and I have open again a new file with a qualitative data set. The qualitative data set looks like this. So basically, we have the respondent ID, which is again good because there are no names. It is coded. If we don't do it, we need to code it like this. Do not put names. We have open-ended questions and we have a response. So what is the biggest challenge you face during the agricultural training program? And we have different types of responses. Sometimes AI, of course, can help us even clean better the data set before moving to analysis. But this data set is quite well cleaned. But if you do not receive from the enumerator a clean data set, then you have to run a prompt to clean the data set first. So now we follow the same procedure. We get the qualitative interview data set, we put it here, okay? And now we want to find out some analysis. Basically, when we are dealing with qualitative data analysis, we do not uh, we do not identify missing values, outliers, because these are statistical concepts that have to do more with a quantitative data set. But now, instead of manually going and reading every response, we will ask AI to help organize the information here. So, as I said, even if we have a data set with 100 responses or 1 million responses, the AI tool will do the same thing and the procedure is the same. So I will run the first prompt here. And this is it. You are assisting with qualitative analysis for a monitoring and evaluation study. So I tell AI that you are now working on an M&E study. Read these interview responses, identify recurring themes, count approximately how many respondents mention each theme, provide one representative code for every theme, and present the results in tables. So as you can see, there are several prompts in one. It's very important that we define the prompt good. So we don't go one by one, but we group the prompt like short orders, I would say, or short directions, so we can move forward. So we run the prompt and we wait. So the AI is working. We as human beings told the tool what needs to be done. They don't know how to do it if we don't tell them. So human judgment is very important. So we got here the respondents, and it is basically separated. Everything it is separated in the theme. So as you can see now, AI has not analyzed impact. It has only organized recurring ideas. It is an important distinction in qualitative analysis. So we could see that approximately they gave the number of respondents and they gave the theme. So we grouped them. And we have the summary here. So now we want to run another prompt. We want to assign one or two thematic codes to every respondent. We don't want to invent nothing. AI don't need to invent. Sometimes we need to tell the tool, do not invent information. And if you're uncertain, write unclear. So we're putting here the prompt. Assign one or two thematic codes to every respondent because we have quite a lot thematic codes here, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want to group them. So one or two thematic code to every respondent, do not invent. And if it's something not certain, put it unclear. Just, I don't want to have something that is not correct in my results. So I have run the prompt. It is working. So it gives us codes it assigned codes for every respondent as we asked. We didn't invent anything, but just it assigned codes like for every respondents there. So it's very important to know what are the objectives and what are the research questions, because this is what we do. And then AI would do the other part of the job. And then we should try to validate and try to see if this is, if it makes sense in our context. AI is not always right. Sometimes I have met some colleagues who think that AI is always right. Humans are much smarter than AI because AI was created by humans. So this is very important. And now we want, out of these 100 qualitative answers about the training, I want a summary. Just want a summary. I want a one paragraph summary describing key issues raised by participants without exaggerating findings. So, and this is it. So from a data set with 100 answers I have received, by giving the right prompt, I have received the summary in one paragraph. And then our job is to read this carefully and to challenge it and to see if it is in line with our context information. So it is very important to validate and to challenge the AI. Like, for example, making questions like, are there respondents that do not fit any themes? Okay, so we try to challenge AI through some of our questions. So we try to make questions here more qualitative questions to see if there are responses that do not clearly fit in any theme, because AI didn't show us this. So if they didn't show us, does that mean that there are not? But it's better to challenge it. So, okay, we have challenged the tool. They appear that no responses appear to be completely unrelated or impossible to classify. But we have to continuously challenge it for every question. So this is human judgment is very much required, and for verification, for validation, and for quality assurance. Sometimes we want to see also the confidence level. Confidence level. So to ask for the confidence level, we can go and run another prompt. Review your previous analysis, identify any themes that are weakly supported, point out where you have overgeneralized, okay? Explain your confidence level for every theme. So if we want to ask this question, we need to know what is confidence level. So we have to have some data, statistical and analytics and evaluation context and knowledge. So there are responses, as you can see, where we can have like AI gave us two responses where there is overgeneralization and where is weakly supported themes, where we have overgeneralization and when we have weakly supported themes. So it gives us two answers moving into two directions to see the results. And also here we have overall confidence assessment where we have confidence high, high, medium, high to see the confidence level, and then the overall assessment. Sometimes AI prefers you as a evaluation specialist or data analyst or data consultant, math consultant to rate the response because the tool knows that we are smarter than the tool. So they ask from us to uh, to uh, to to not to rate, but to rank which response do we write, which is better and better explained using the context-wise theory. So what are the key mal takeaways? I would say that definitely AI can help with organizing responses, summarizing text, identifying patterns, speeding analysis. A lot speeding analysis. Something that we could do for a week, now we can do it for 2 hours. But human still decides the questions, the research questions. Out of them, we make the prompt, the prompt that I have written. The interpretation of findings, assessing the significance, and ensuring validity and credibility. So either by making follow-up questions or by cross-validating with other traditional methods that we could be using. So this is also for the qualitative block. And before we move to the end with the theoretical part, 3-4 minutes to close up. Are there any questions?
There are a couple that are still parked in the Q&A box, Hannah, if you could just refer to them. I think overall we're getting a question about the type of tools to use and which ones are best suited for what kind of application. I think what we emphasize over here, this is kind of like that introductory to message to how male practitioners could use it in their day-to-day. But overall, there are much more, let's say, nuanced uses of AI tools, which do a bit more. And I think in terms of what kind of information we put in and how we use it, it's open to you testing it out as well. But with that, Hannah, if you could just look into the few questions that we have in the Q&A box from Amadou and Sergey.
Okay, AI qualitative data analysis is to be laborious. What I can see here is like for each question, we need one data set. Assume we conduct a survey with 70 questions. What will the approach of analysis? Definitely, if we conduct a survey with 70 questions, we will be having one data set with 70 questions. And we can first use the same procedure, like upload the data set, even though there are the 70 questions, but then you could give at least 70 prompts. So out of 70 questions that there are there, you could give at least minimum 70 prompts to receive some of the findings and group some of the findings from these 70 questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
And there's one.
Sergey. Thanks, Hannah. I really like how accessible this makes analysis. A question on reliability. When you paste the spreadsheet into the chat and prompt for figures, the model is approximating the computation in context rather than executing it, which is not deterministic and can silently miscount rows or invent the total with no audit trial. Did you distinguish between the model doing the math itself versus having to write the code? Yes. Wonderful question. That's why I said ideally, in an ideal world, if you have time and or if you can ask for some time, you run a model while using the traditional tools like in Python, you can use pandas, and then get the results in Jupyter Notebook, and then run the same analysis while using Gemini AI, Copilot, ChatGPT, like we did, and try to see if the results are the same. In most of the cases, the results so far, with my experience, are the same. But in the ideal world, we need to do it also traditional way, especially if there is a very important decision coming from it that it has budget and cost behind. We have to use, like pandas or SQL. I prefer Python pandas library to run the code and run the model, and then try to do the same with AI and see if there are differences there.
Sounds good. I know we're right on time, but Hannah, I think you've got like a couple of things to mention as like
Yeah.
safeguarding tips. But just as a heads up, I think this was an introduction to the series about AI, but I think we will get into more from the DCED side, host more webinars on AI use and evaluations and other uses as well. So stay tuned
Yeah.
for that. We're in conversations with other speakers. But Hannah, if you could just like go through the final.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is very important to think about data safety while we will using tools. There are other tools, not only ChatGPT that I have used today for demonstrating. So before uploading any data, we should ask, does this data set contain personal names, email addresses, phone numbers, national ID numbers, financial information, sensitive beneficiary information? So it is very important that to use coding. So all personal names should be coded uh, by different codes. And it's very important that we delete email addresses, phone numbers, ID numbers, financial information, and sensitive beneficiary information. So this AI cannot do this. So we have to know our policies and our GDPR regulations and do this before we start the analysis. And AI is powerful, definitely, but it's not always right. AI is an assistant, is our assistant on a daily basis, but this is not the decision maker. We are the decision makers. Humans are decision maker. AI can make these mistakes. We always need to verify the output. Always verify the output. Try to use also traditional tools with different types of libraries in Jupyter Notebook. in Python or with Google Colab or other tools, SQL, regardless of what you find it more easier. There are many limitations of AI that we need to really think about it. It may generate incorrect facts or statistics. So, as I was demonstrating, we need to validate them. They may misunderstand survey questions. They may misunderstand indicators. So they may misunderstand interview responses. They don't know the context of our work. They don't know the context of our country or the country that you're in. That they don't know the mentality of people in your country. They don't know the context of the industry, of the business that you are in, of the project that you're in. And sometimes, and this is very important, that AI can give us outdated information because some models may not be included in the latest policies or guidelines. Some policies get published, like public policies or laws, but AI might not retrieve them in that second. The AI tools not in that second. So sometimes there might be some outdated information, and last but not least, so I didn't have a chance to talk about myself or maybe about Data Edu. Data Edu is it's a private entity specialized in services in monitoring and evaluation and learning, market research, data analytics that help organizations and companies understand their beneficiaries, improve performance, and make data-driven decision making. So, what we do, we provide MEL and market research services. We provide data analytics solutions, and we provide trainings in data science and AI. Our official email is info@dataedu.net, but of course you can also follow us on LinkedIn to see our news and our updates. I would like to keep in touch with all of you, so feel free to communicate with me, or if you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email or to Munib directly. I will be willing to answer to all of your questions, or if some of your questions comes in late. So this is it from my side. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you so much, Hana, and thank you so much everyone for attending. Just as context, Hana usually delivers a training course on this over 3 days, so she had to squeeze something over an hour, which I think in itself is
Yeah.
an effort. So I think there was a lot more to cover which we couldn't do. But we saw a reference to a lot of tools. I think Elise, which is now rebranded as Evandino. I think we're also in touch with them on qualitative analysis using AI tools. So there's a lot out there. I think this was just to tell you that don't be afraid to test out and see what works best for you and get started on this journey. So from the DCD side, we will keep these conversations going. And I think this is a topic of interest, which we will follow up with. Once again, I thank you. I know we're a little over time, but this just shows interest. And thanks again, Hana, so much for the effort and time that you spent
Thank
over
you.
this.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.